Okay, 30 seconds. We'll try it again. Alright, so this session takes place, or this side session takes place during the session that happened last time, our last big session. You and Bronzy have gotten into a firefight, and you took a bullet in the ribs that knocked you on your ass. Bronzy picked you up and has gotten you out onto the orbital elevator platform that you were sniping from. A hail of shot comes through the doorway, however, as he takes you out onto this platform, and you see, because he's got you in a fireman's carry, you see one of the bullets smack into the middle of Bronzy's back, and he goes down to one knee, and as he goes down, he throws you off of his shoulders, and you land on your back on the orbital platform. It hurts like hell. You're pretty sure one of your ribs is broken, and when you look up when you look up at Bronzy, you notice that your vision is starting to darken, and Bronzy's looking down at you, and he coughs a little bit, and you see very bright red blood come from Bronzy's mouth. And Bronzy, he plants his shield down behind him that he was carrying over his shoulder as he was carrying you. And he looks down at you, and you see he kind of drags his bag that he had taken with him over. And your vision is starting to darken again. And Bronzy, he reaches into the bag and he pulls out a small black box. And he presses it to your chest. And he says, and he coughs and he says, "It's a 5-second transponder. Meteorite transponder. It'll bounce off any meteorites," and he points up, "in the atmosphere. Relay whatever you want back to Inwinter's grasp." And he coughs again, and more blood is coming out of his mouth. And he physically lifts you up, and he slings his backpack onto you. And he picks you up. And he says, "You'll be alright, brother. I know you can survive whatever the fuck they throw at you." And you hear sounds coming from behind him, and you see the Vladimir's Legion troopers burst through out onto the platform, and Bronzy physically throws you off of the orbital elevator. And the last thing you see before you drift into full unconsciousness as you're falling is a Vladimir's Legion soldier come up and rifle butt Bronzy in the back of the head, and he falls to the orbital elevator. While you are unconscious, you dream. You feel the warmth of a fire in front of you. Laid out in front of this campfire, you see that there's melted snow, and it's been kind of shoved to the side, and there's grass showing underneath the snow. And sitting on top of this grass is a set of armor. The armor is gold with purple lining, or like purple trim, purple trim, thank you. And you have a rag in your hand, and you are polishing this armor. Now, this armor is very intricate, and it looks very advanced, almost like very ornate powered armor. And you're polishing it, and you feel a hand on your shoulder, and you look up into a face that at once you don't recognize, but you do. The face is of a humanoid looking creature. They have a blue face, but they have no nose. There's just a vertical slit where their nose would be. And their eyes are a little bit too wide to be human, and they are also yellowed. And the creature sits down next to you, and he smiles. And immediately, a name comes to the forefront of your brain. Uh, this name is, hold on, let me check my notes. A name comes to the forefront of your brain, and this name is Fulgrim. And Fulgrim smiles at you and he says, "That was a good fight we had just a moment, or today, huh, brother?" And immediately a memory fills your mind, and you remember a long corridor as you hold your rail rifle out in front of you and blast away the creatures that are scuttling along in the dark towards you and Fulgrim.
Who? This is my turn to. You want me to interact?
Yeah, you can if you want, if you so choose.
I'm gonna just look around, a little bewildered, and I'm gonna turn to the man and be like, "I don't necessarily remember exactly who you are. Have we met before?"
When you speak, your voice, it is your own, and yet it is not at the same time. It almost sounds like you were speaking with your voice, but there is another layer to it, and it sounds a little bit more guttural and a little bit, and it's in a language you don't quite recognize. Like, you recognize the words, but you don't recognize the language itself, as strange as that might be. And Fulgrim, two nictating membranes close over their eyes and then reopen again, as they're blinking as if in surprise, and they say to you, "Did that, excuse me, sorry. Did the matriarch, did she hit you over the head, brother? I know that you got brought down for a moment there, but you seemed fine when we picked you back up. It's me, it's Fulgrim." And he chuckles a little bit and he says, "You sure you're okay there?" And you're starting to get some memories in your mind that they're kind of like a jigsaw puzzle that's slowly forming in your mind. You recognize this creature now. You recognize him as Fulgrim, and you've been fighting alongside Fulgrim for a long time. And yet there's these other memories of someone named Victor? And they seem to be battling in your mind right now.
I'm gonna. I'll blink a couple times and then look a little surprised, and then start to recognize it on my face. Like, "Oh, Fulgrim. Yeah, that's right. Where were we?" But as I'm saying this, I'm kind of like touching my head, kind of make sense of what I'm seeing.
Fulgrim nods, and he recognizes that you seem to be in a little bit of discomfort, and he says, "Yes, yeah, the fight. The fight against the Skitters. The matriarch, she took you down for a moment, knocked you senseless a little bit, but you managed to run her through with your rail rifle. You remember, right?" And you immediately, it flashes into your mind, you remember being pounced upon by a long centipede-looking creature that was battering at your armor and was physically holding you down, and she had your helmet in her mandibles, but you managed to get your gun and fire through her chest piece and kill her instantly.
Oh, that is right. I remember doing that. Remember the matriarch?
Oh yeah, it was
What happened
good.
to all my equipment?
You look down at your equipment and you recognize battle damage upon your armor, and you now remember that for the last about hour now you've been buffeting it out with the power tool that everybody in the Great One's military is equipped with, of course, to maintain their own arms and armor. And Fulgrim is nodding, and he says, or he scooches over a little bit closer to you, and he says, "Now, you didn't hear this from me, brother, but Bellicor, I heard that he was very impressed with your latest combat, with our latest sortie there, and he may or may not be stopping by here soon to give you his praises directly." The name Bellicor immediately triggers a memory in your mind, and you remember Bellicor is both your commanding officer and your father. You are one of his sons, just like Fulgrim, and just like the other sons and daughters in your legion. You are all sired from his genes.
I just purse my lips and nod, because I know that my father demands the best from me in battle. I don't want to dishonor him.
Um, you nod, and you are remembering all of this, and you feel great pride, because to be recognized by your father, yes, it is such a very high honor. But as you are nodding and as you are feeling this pride, you feel something else, and then you immediately you feel something else in your mind, and you start to see these memories of something about an orbital elevator and a strange creature that has some kind of growth on its face that stretches out from its face, and the creature is large, and its skin it's not blue, it's not normal. It physically it would resemble one of your people from a distance, but there's just so many wrong things about it. And then another name flashes into your mind, and this name is a Victor.
I'm gonna look visibly upset, but I'm not going to say anything about it.
You are still battling in your mind when you hear a very deep booming voice from behind you, and a hand rests on your shoulder, and it says, "Rylanor, my son, that was a great battle. You brought great honor to the Legion today." And the hand turns you around, and you look up at your father, as beautiful as he is. You look like him in the face and physically, but he is so much grander. He is much taller, much larger than you and the rest of your siblings. And you are filled with warmth and pride and happiness to see him in the flesh here. And he's smiling very broad and deeply at you. However, despite this, there is one thing that catches your eye, one thing that manages to tear your gaze away from your father. And that is another, or that is one of those strange creatures that you had saw before, that are like you, but are not like you. And that creature is standing behind your father, and they are cloaked. They have a cloak pulled up over their head, and their hands are slid into their, or they're in a robe, and their hands are slid into the robe, and they are looking at you, and you can see from here that their eyes are piercing, and they're looking through their father, looking at you directly.
I'm gonna look at them in turn and turn to my father and say, "Father, who are these men?"
Your father, he follows your sight, and he looks over at the man standing there, and he looks through him, and he's shaking his head, and he says, "What are you talking about? I see nothing." And then you hear a booming voice in your head, and you see that although this man is standing far away, you see that he's moving his lips, but his voice is overwhelming in your head, and it says, "The Ancient awaits." And then, Victor, you wake up with only the bare essentials of that memory in your head. That you remember a couple of names. You remember Fulgrim, and you remember Rylanor and Bellicor, and you don't know why these names are circling about in your head, and it's very fuzzy.
I'm gonna take stock of my surroundings and figure out where I am.
Yeah, okay. You shake yourself awake from the dream, and you're taking stock, and you look around. Uh, your body aches something fierce. However, you feel like you've regained some of your bearings, and you don't feel quite as much in pain before. Just that damned pain in your ribs. Uh, by the way, if you haven't yet, set it so that you are at full health right now. However, cut your speed in half currently.
What would I cut speed in half?
Your speed's 30 feet, right?
Oh, so let's make it 15.
Yep. Yeah, just for now, I'll make it 15.
Okay.
You are looking around and you're just getting your bearings and you're getting your surroundings. The sun has set. You are at the base of the orbital elevator. Now, the orbital elevator was near the outskirts of the city. You're kind of like in the suburbs around the city currently. Uh, you are looking around. You realize that you are missing your rifle. However, you still have your pistol. Uh, Bronzy, his backpack that you gave you, cleverly enough, it seems to have contained a parachute inside of it. Uh, the parachute deploying, however, has torn the backpack apart. The only thing that you have from the backpack is you feel a bulge sitting in one of your chest pockets. And when you pull it out, you see that you have a small black transponder. And you remember Bronzy telling you about the transponder and how it worked. The
I'm
area
gonna.
around you is a bunch of houses, but it's completely dark here, and it's completely dark all around you, as a matter of fact.
Um, I'm gonna. Oh, God. Hold up. I need to look at my inventory here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'm gonna draw my pistol,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't see anything around me.
Um, well, you can see that it's a bunch of darkened houses. It's dark. You can hear explosions and gunfire off in the distance, but all around you, it's like quiet and very dark. There's no streetlights or anything on.
All right. Between labored breathing and his own gunshot wound, Victor's gonna just whistle real loud for a second,
Okay.
and he's gonna just stay low and see what happens.
Sure. You let out a loud whistle, and you are staying low for a few moments. Nothing is happening. Nothing has happened.
All right. I'm gonna move to the buildings, one of the closest, darkest buildings.
Okay,
What's
sure.
up?
Hey, Timmy.
I just played with the Phantom clan, Phantom Goose and Phantom Cat.
Oh, nice. Okay,
They were
so
actually just chill dudes. They're just buddies, but like,
I'm gonna mute Timmy.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did that too.
so you move into one of the darkened buildings. It is a middle class house that you end up moving into. Inside the house, you see that the place has been completely looted, and like there's a couple overturned tables here and there. The couch has been left, but other than that, this whole place has been ransacked. You see cans litter the floor, a couple alcoholic bottles here and there. There is a second story to the house, and when you go up there, you see it's the same thing. There's cans and whatnot littered everywhere, and the place has been looted and sacked completely on the inside.
I'm gonna go into the main dining area, and I'm gonna rearrange one of the tables so that's in the middle of the room, standing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna put on the transponder and try to activate it.
Sure. You set the transponder down, and it's very simple. There is a button that says record, and then there is a button underneath that says transmit.
Alright, I'm gonna hit record.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna speak into it.
Okay, what are you recording? You have 5 seconds.
SOS, this is Victor Franz. There's a whole lot happened. I'm not sure exactly where I am. I think Bronzy's been taken captive. I've been injured. I'm currently unarmed, besides my pistol. I need to... Might find me.
The transponder beeps at the end of your message, and it shuts off, and then you see the button that says transmit is flashing green.
I'm gonna hit that transmit button.
You hear a quick burst of static from the transponder, and then the light turns green, and then a moment passes, and the light starts flashing yellow on it now.
I'm just gonna put the transponder in my pocket again.
You put the transponder in your pocket, and when you do so, you hear ding from the transponder.
That was quick. Take it back out again and look at it.
Okay. Okay, you pull out the transponder again, and the holographic button for transmit now transforms into receive? Question mark.
I'm gonna put it back down on the table and hit the receive button.
You hear a burst of static, and then in a machine voice you hear, message is encrypted.
Does the black box have a capability to encrypt messages, or do I have to do that myself?
You can attempt to try to see if you can figure out how to decrypt the message.
Alright. I'm gonna try and decrypt it then.
Okay, that'll be a science check. DC 20.
DC 20 science. Science. DC 20.
Ooh. Oh. You're looking it over and you can't seem to figure out how to decrypt this message at all.
God damn it, the technology changes every freaking year. Oh, I'm just gonna put the box away.
Okay. You put the box away, and then from up the street, you can hear a low rumbling now from your house, from the house you're in.
Does the house I'm in overlook the street?
Yes, it's like on the street and it overlooks it.
Okay. I'm gonna run up to the second floor and take cover by a window so I can see, or I can try and get a view of what's going on outside.
Sure. A moment passes, and then you see lights start to approach from the end of the street, and they're starting to approach the house you're at. The lights approach to about 2 houses away, and then they stop. And when you kind of poke out and you see out the window, you see what looks like a small armored vehicle. It sits on 4 wheels. It sits on 4 wheels. It kind of looks like a Jeep, almost. It does not have a weapon on it. You see what you recognize to be Vladimir's Legion soldiers riding. There's a couple on the inside of the Jeep. It seats 4. And then there's a couple riding on the outskirts, or on the skirts of the Jeep. And they stop And two of the soldiers get off of the skirts of the Jeep, and the two soldiers, they walk into the house that's two houses up from yours on the opposite side of the road. And the other four in the Jeep is just idling, and the other four don't seem to be moving.
But the Jeep is still occupied, right?
The Jeep is still
at the Jeep.
There's still people at the Jeep.
Alright. Jeez, oh, it'd be too dangerous to engage them right now. With just my pistol. I'm gonna look at my watch and try to figure out when the sun is going to rise.
Luckily for you, all of the info for Ishmael was uploaded to all of your, or was data transferred to you all when you signed the contract with Gravesguard. So you have the info. As far, or from what your watch says, it'll be 8 standard hours until the sun starts to rise.
So I got the planetary clock. Alright. Do I know where I am in relation to the rest of the city?
You can see the city, and you can see that you're starting to get close to at least like the outskirts of the city, but you're like in the suburbs that surround it. So it would probably take you at least an hour by foot to reach the outskirts.
I'm gonna take a look out the corner of the window. While still being concealed, I'm gonna look at the sky elevator, or the space elevator.
Yep.
And just assess what it's looking like.
Sure. You look up and you see now that there is a bunch of air vehicles going to and from the orbital elevator now. You can see the lights blinking across the sky as they fly into the elevator and they're flying out of it. So it's got a lot of traffic going there now.
Wait, these guys here must be the same people that attacked me and Bronzy in the tower.
Yep, you do recognize them to be Vladimir's Legion.
Yeah. We'll probably have to assume that they took control of the tower. I can't do anything by myself, so I should probably get back to the city. Is the road to the city... Let's see, I'm just gonna leave the house out the other side so that the people in the car don't see me.
Yep, you can do that.
And I'm going to start making my way towards the city.
Okay. You are making your way on foot towards the city. You are ducking through some back yards and whatnot as you're making your way there. And as you're making your way, about a couple minutes pass, you suddenly, out of the corner of your eye, you see what looks like a shadow dart from one house across the street into another house. Across the street from opposite to you, so they're moving from the opposite end of the street across to a house that's just a couple of houses ahead of you, I should clarify.
Alright, I'm gonna get low. I'm gonna slowly make my way up to that house.
Sure. You are at the fence line surrounding this house. And when you peer up over, you can see that the back door to this house is open. And through the broken window by the back door, you can see what looks like a shadow is crouched low near the window.
I'm going to circle around to the open door and just take cover next to it.
Sure. Do you want to make me a stealth check?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Did proficiency in there too.
You should be proficient in your armor. I don't know why it should be a 19. Okay, yeah, you are able to stealthily make your way on up. I don't know why it's got you as not proficient with your armor. We'll have to change that later. But anyway,
sure.
You make your way on up to the door, and you are as quiet as can be, and you see that the shadow has not moved. And when you, oh, excuse me, when you get close, you can look through the window, and when you look through the window, you see a middle-aged man in tattered clothing is sitting, and he's crouching low by the window, and he's kind of, he looks nervous. He's kind of looking around, but every now and then he looks back into the house, and you see he kind of reaches down and he kind of scavenges around at the floor around him.
And that's the only one I can see.
Yep, that's the only one you can see.
Okay, I'm going to just approach him slowly with my gun still drawn but pointed down. And I'm gonna just take one of my hands and face it up towards him and say, "Friendly."
The man, he almost jumps out of his boots when you speak up, and he looks and he goes, "Oh, by the saints! Who in God's great name are you?"
My name is Victor. I'm here on your planet for other reasons. What brings you here?
He looks at you, and he raises an eyebrow, and he's looking you over, and he says, "You're not a part of those off-worlders, are you?" And he's gesturing towards the Vladimir's Legion soldiers up the street.
No, not with those candy asses.
Oh, thank Jesus Christ. I'm Jericho Glick, and he dusts himself off and he picks himself up, and he looks at you, and he looks down and he says, "Are you hurt?" And he gestures towards your now bleeding ribs.
I just gonna sigh and shake my head. Yeah, I'm injured, but it should hold in a bit longer until we find the rest of my crew. And as I say that, I grimace a little bit.
He nods his head and he says, "Oh, well, as long as you're not a part of them or the damned believers. You don't look like one. You would have shot me if you were, I suppose. Look, I know I wouldn't normally do this for an off-worlder, but I've got a safe house here. It's just me, my wife, and my daughter. I could lead you there. We could help you out, maybe."
I'm just gonna take note of the house around us, and I'm gonna ask him, "Did you live in this area, Jericho?"
He shakes his head and he says, "We've been running low on food and medicine and, all the essentials lately. I've been scavenging here at night, hoping to find some things."
Gonna nod a little bit. Alright, why don't you take me to your safe house and we can think of a plan to get you and your family out of here.
Well, we'll have to talk.
It's not safe.
I recognize that, sir, but, well, we'll talk about that. Sure, I could show you the way. It's not too far from here. It's near, or it's in the workers' housing district for the orbital elevator. Not too far from here.
Alright, get my gun ready again. Why don't you lead the way, and I'll try and keep you covered.
He nods his head and he sneaks, or he goes, or he exits through the house, the back door of the house, and he goes really low and he whispers to you and he says, "Just be careful. There are martyr patrols around here. They don't really check the houses much anymore, but, well, you can't be too careful."
I'm gonna nod and just gesture for him to keep going.
You walk, you follow Jericho for a few minutes, and he's ducking over the fences, and he's cutting through the backyards, and once you even cut across the street, and then you cut back across again, This lasts for about 10 minutes, and then he holds up his hand as you come to an intersection. And he gets real low, and he whispers over to you, and he says, "My safe house, it's right up the street here, about another block. But..." And he motions over, and you see that coming up the street, you see another Jeep is approaching. However, from here you can see that this Jeep is different than the Vladimir's Legion one you saw. It looks a lot more ramshackle. And you can even see from here that it's not ready for the parade ground, if you know what I mean. It's not really up for or ready for or it would not pass inspection on the parade ground.
I'm gonna just gesture for Jericho to the Jeep that's passing. Do you know who that belongs to?
He looks at it, and he looks back at you a little warily, and he says, "It's either martyrs or true believers. God help us if it's the true believers. They're a little bit more thorough with the searching."
I'm gonna look at the truck a bit more and just see what it's doing.
The truck approaches the intersection, and then it stops. And the truck stops, and the doors open, and you see 3 men step out. These 3 men, you have not, or you have only seen them once before, and that was in the briefing cube that you received on the way here. They wear what looks like makeshift armor, and each one carries a crude-looking assault rifle. They are true believers. You recognize them to be. Now, just a reminder, the true believers are the ones who believe in killing anybody not from Ishmael and those of the Unity and the Martyr Party. Either you're with them or you're against them, and they're religious, like zealot fanatics. They'll kill you.
Alright. Am I able to count how many there are right
Yes.
off the bat?
Yes, you see 3 of them total.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, they don't have assault rifles. They have las guns. Low spectrum las guns. Your weapons expertise recognizes them to be.
Alright. So I won't pack too much of a punch, but we should still be careful.
Yes, they are. They are at the Jeep, and the Jeep is idling. It's sitting at an intersection. You are at the T, like the bottom part of the T of the intersection. They are at the right side. If it, like if you imagine a T, they are at the right road where it crosses over.
Yeah, if I'm south, they're east.
Yep.
Alright.
They are about 120 feet away from you currently.
Is there any way to sneak around the left side of the intersection?
You can certainly try.
Alright, I'm gonna motion to Jericho just to start let me start over. Jericho, why don't you follow me? I'm gonna try and get us around these guys.
He nods, and you see he does the sign of the crucifix, and he's following you now.
Alright. I'm gonna slowly try to make myself around the left side of the intersection.
Okay.
Without being seen.
There is a small house at the corner of the intersection, but it's far enough away from the street that to cross from that house across the street, you will have to go out in the open. So I'll say you can make it to this small house, and then you'll have to make me a stealth check. You are now about 90 feet away from them.
Okay. I'm gonna go into the small house with Jericho.
Okay.
So that we're covered.
Yep. Okay.
Am I able to examine the house at all on the inside to see what there is?
It seems like the rest of the other houses you've seen so far ransacked. There is a small table left over.
Okay. Is there any? Let's see. uh, is there any loose wood sitting around?
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna click the loose wood.
Okay.
Is there a pipe sitting around?
Make me a perception check, we'll say. You are looking around and you see underneath one of the sinks, there is some loose piping.
Okay. I'm gonna free the piping from the plumbing.
Okay. Yep. No water comes out, thankfully.
Cool. I'm gonna take one of those tables and set it up by the front window overlooking the intersection.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna prop up the wood so that it's peeking just above the backside of the table, so it looks like a guy behind cover.
Okay.
And I'm gonna balance the pipe on the wood that I've just stacked up and the table itself, so that it's just sitting level.
All right.
And then
So you've set up a nice little, like a mirage of a man sitting behind the table. Okay.
a little decoy. Yeah.
A little decoy.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to Jericho. I'm gonna explain what I'm doing. Alright, Jericho. So.
Okay.
So this here is gonna be our distraction. All right. We're gonna, as soon as we leave this house, I'm gonna throw something or make some noise and get their attention over here. When they see this, they should open fire. That's gonna be our chance to run across the intersection. All right. We don't have any other. There's no other better chance than this. All right.
Jericho nods and he says, "Oh, okay, I trust you, sir."
Yeah. And as I'm talking about this, I'm gonna just slowly caress my wound.
Okay.
I can't move very fast either, so I'm gonna need you to help me get across this intersection as fast as possible.
Jericho, he stands up a little bit straighter and he nods and he says, "Okay, sir. I'll do my best."
Great. Now, before we start, we should probably use something to cover ourselves. Why don't you take a look around, look for a, I don't know, some kind of tarp or something, big blanket. We just need to make sure we're not easily distinguishable when we walk out there.
He nods and he says, "One moment, we might be in luck." And he darts up the stairs real quick. And a moment passes and he comes back down and you see that he's holding what looks like a large rug. And he nods and he says, "This used to be martyr housing, or people who believed in the martyr faction. It's a prayer rug."
All right, I'll take the prayer rug from him because I'm gonna need to cover myself as I'm moving slower.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look on the ground for like a piece of glass or a bottle or something.
There's plenty of those, plenty of bottles and broken glass.
All right, I'm gonna pick up a couple bottles and use some string to tie them together.
Okay.
And then I'm going to attach them so that when you close the front door, they all fall and shatter.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna set that up.
Okay, yep, you do that.
All right. I'm gonna point
you
at Jerry.
You notice the true believers, they have now stopped the truck and they've shut it off. And one of them is checking out one of the houses across the street, while the other two are taking long drags on cigarettes and leaning up against the Jeep.
All right. Let's see. I could try and take that Jeep, but then I might put Jericho in danger. All right. I'm gonna tell Jericho to wait by the back door because we're gonna do this thing.
He nods and he moves to the back of the house.
And then Am I able to see what's across the intersection before I pass to it?
Yeah, it's the same as it's been before. Another series, or it's another street of worn or rundown abandoned houses.
Alright. Alright. I'm going to get the rug on top of me ready, and I'm going to motion to Jericho just to wait until I get there, so he can help me.
Mm-hmm. He seems to pick up what you're trying to tell him.
And then, while everyone's distracted, I'm going to get back to the main window where my decoy is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take up a shooting position right next to him with my pistol.
Okay.
And you said they're 90 feet away?
They are 90 feet away.
I have to check my range on my pistol. Oh, I don't have the range on here.
I can double check the rules. It should be, if anything, it'll probably be at disadvantage if you're trying to shoot one of them. Otherwise, if you're just trying to shoot in their direction, that won't matter.
Okay.
But I'll double check just to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, regardless, I think I'll know what I'll do.
Okay. So, just so you can write it down for the future. Your pistol's range is... Page 71. Your pistol's range is 40 feet, or 40 feet normally, 120 feet, out to 120 feet at disadvantage.
Alright. Then I will probably I'll probably try to shoot them at disadvantage. To actually try and shoot one of them.
Okay, so you're gonna try to shoot one of them. Got it. Alright, so you'll roll 2d20 and you take the lowest of that. And then I will let you make this shot. And then we'll see. See how it goes.
I'm just wasting all my rolls right now. Alright, let's do this. Oh shit.
Your shot goes right into the front fender of the Jeep, and it causes them to the two that are at the Jeep. They hit the ground, and they're looking around, while the other one that's at the other house, he turns around and he sprints over to the fencing that the house he's at, and he's taking cover behind it now.
Alright. I'm going to holster my pistol. I'm going to move out of the window. I'm going to slam the front door so that all the bottles fall down, and I'm going to book it to the back where Jericho is.
Sure. You slam the front door, all the bottles fall down, and as you're booking it to the back, you hear crack, crack, crack as 3 las rounds smack into the door that you just slammed. And you hear the groan and creak as the door is being pelted by these rounds. But you're able to get to the backyard without being seen.
Alright. I'm gonna grab Jericho by the arm, and we're just gonna fucking book it across the street as fast as we can.
Sure. I'll say, thanks to all your preparations, that you can roll stealth at advantage.
Cool. How would I roll it at advantage?
There's the advantage button. So D or whatever your stealth is, and then you can hit advantage. Yep.
Sweet. It's probably gonna do the weird armor proficiency thing.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Oh shit. 4+3 advantage. Yeah, I can't make sense of that. I'm not the DM.
Yeah, let me hold on. Let me try to figure something out real quick. Armor. Main. Nut sonar. Oh my god. Where is your armor?
My armor.
Because it is your scout armor. That's right. And it's saying that for whatever reason, your armor you're not proficient in it. And I think I can adjust that.
Yeah, I tried doing it on the check itself, on the stealth check, but
We'll probably just
gives me an
re-roll
error.
that. Yeah. So let me see if I can figure it out.
I could just roll a regular dice, d20, with advantage, and then just add the 3 from...
Yeah, just do
proficiency
that.
in it.
Do that. We'll figure that out. Figure that out later. I don't know why it's doing that.
Oh,
Okay.
that was
Plus
even
the-
worse.
Alright, you make it to the house on the other side when you are finally seen. And now they are about to take shots towards you. I'll say that you have a choice here. You can stand and fight, or you can try to run.
I'm gonna ditch the rug on a fence, and I'm gonna just tell Jericho to get the fuck out of here.
So you're gonna try to run?
Yeah.
Make me we'll say a dexterity saving throw.
Give me a good one.
Oh my god. No, it's 14, because it's doing the non-proficiency.
Yeah.
So
Holy
15.
shit.
You see a flash behind you, and you duck down as a round goes scooching over your head, and you are booking it across this apartment complex. Make me or not apartment complex, this the backyard of this house. Make me another dexterity saving throw.
It's gonna do it again.
Yeah. You leap over the fence, and you feel your ribs shift, and it hurts, but you do it just in time as another round, or another 2 rounds, crash into the fence behind you and literally blow out parts of the fence. However, you seem to be getting away from them, and you hear shouts behind you, and you manage to clear the next fence over without getting shot at. And as you do so, Jericho grabs your foot, and he swipes your leg out from underneath you, and you crash to the ground, and he climbs over on top of you, and he puts his hand over your mouth, and he's holding his finger to his lips, and he's looking at you, like, terrified.
I'm so startled that I'm gonna put my gun right up against his head. Not actually pointing at him, but just like, so he can feel the cold metal. Now I'm gonna hold his head in place right in front of me.
He's gonna keep his hand, or he feels the cold metal, and he looks over at it, and he's just shaking his head. and he's saying,
Despite sweating and in pain, I'm going to just shake my head, or I'm gonna nod it just lightly so he understands.
He nods, and he pulls his hand off of your mouth, and he whispers, and he says, "The next house, that's my safe house."
I'm gonna motion him to get off and start going.
He nods, and he starts to ever slowly crawl across the backyard towards the next house.
I'm gonna follow him, but I'm gonna follow him on my back. And I'll propel myself with my feet while I point my gun back at the place we came from.
You are slowly crawling back with Jericho, and you hear voices from a few houses up, and you see that the next house over, the one whose fence you just jumped over, you hear crack, 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 and you see 3 las bolts smack into the side of the house and blow out one of the remaining windows, and you can hear voices, and then you hear a voice shout out, In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, come out and face judgment, heretic. And you hear crack, crack as two more las bolts smack into the side of the house. You are at the fence line of what Jericho has told you is his house, his safe house. And when you look back, you see Jericho, he punches a part of the fence, and a small slot opens up just large enough for you two to crawl through.
Alright, I'll nod and follow him through the hole.
You follow him through the hole, and he slides it closed, and then he gestures over to the corner of his yard, and he says to you, "Stay low, follow me. They won't find us, I swear."
I'll nod and wait on the signal.
He nods, and he pulls himself up into a crouch so that he's up against the fence, but like he's not poking over it. And he ever slowly is starting to shuffle along, and you hear crack, 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 as the house that you were just crawling through the yard starts to take gunfire.
I'm gonna tighten my grip on my gun and just keep an eye on the place where all that gunfire is coming from. And I'm gonna just mouth for Jericho to hurry the fuck up.
He nods, and during the next staccato of gunfire, he moves faster over to the corner of the yard, and you see him, he bends over, and then you hear a slight shuffling, and then you hear what sounds you hear what sounds like a metal grating being moved.
I'm gonna cycle my pistol just to make sure I have an actual bullet loaded.
It's loaded.
And I'm gonna continuously look back at him, like every half second, just to make sure everything's going right. While I wait for these guys to come up on us.
You turn towards, and you hear some shuffling in the yard, the next yard over. So the yard right next to his. And then you hear crack, crack, crack as Jericho's house starts to take fire. And when you next look over, you see only Jericho's head and like his hands coming up out of the ground, and he's doing the come here to you.
I'm gonna holster my gun and I'm gonna turn over on my stomach and bear crawl into the hole that he's in.
You manage to do so, and as you crawl inside, Jericho slides a metal grating over, and then he reaches his hand up through the grating, and you see him pull what looks like a piece of fabric over the metal grating, and he brings his hand back down. And he breathes out, and he says, "Just walk down the hallway there. There's a door at the. It's a large door at the end, metal door. You can open it up. It's like a starship door. Just turn the wheel."
I'm gonna turn back at him. Are you coming with me?
He nods, but he looks up and he says, "I'm going to make sure they actually pass by." And he gestures up and he says, "It's a chameleon cloak. It should make it look like a normal part of the backyard. But if they step on it, they'll hear the metal underneath."
I'm gonna take stock of everything I have in my belt. I'm gonna make sure my knife is still there. And I'm gonna look at Jericho and be like, "Is there anyone else that lives down here? Or is it just you and your family?"
"It's just me, my wife, and my daughter. They might be a little surprised to see you, but when you get there, just knock on the door 3 times, and that's the signal. Only 3 times, mind you."
I'll nod at him, and I'm gonna take my knife out of its belt. I'm gonna flip it around so the handle's facing. I'm gonna give it out to him. Just in case they get a jump on you. At least you can fight.
He nods and he takes the knife.
I'm gonna make sure my gun is still in its holster,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna walk down to the door and knock on it 3 times, curtly.
A moment passes, and then the wheel on the door spins and opens. And inside, you see a middle-aged woman. She wears a shawl over her head. She's pretty. And behind her, you see a young girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, is holding on to her pant leg. And she looks at you and she says, "Who are you? Where's Jericho?"
I'm gonna raise both my hands. He's okay. He's just making sure that we're not followed down here. I left him a knife. He's gonna be fine.
She
And
looks.
I'm gonna.
She looks past you, and then you hear from behind, and he says, "It's all right, Sarah. It's all right." And Jericho approaches up from behind, and he says, "He's a fellow. He's a fellow survivor, just like us. I found him out near the orbital elevator."
I'm
And
gonna nod and clear my throat and just put a hand over my injury so the kid doesn't have to see it.
she looks down and she sees the red patch on your clothing where the blood has seeped through, and she nods and she bends over to the little girl and she says, "Marie, go play with your dolls for a bit. Daddy and I need to talk." And the little girl nods and she runs over to a corner of the room. Inside the room, you can see that Jericho has set up a veritable bunker, basically. There is a couple tables. There is a bed in the one corner of the room and a child's bed in the opposite corner where little Marie is now playing with some dolls. The one table, you guess to be the dining table, has what looks like some military rations on it. A couple cans of beans and whatnot on it. The other table you see is taken up by what looks like a large radio set. And currently coming from the radio is a stream of slow jazz music. The rest of the place seems pretty Spartan. There is a dual oven that also seems to serve as the heating for the room, and a couple of chairs, and it doesn't seem like there is much else. A couple of books here and there scattered along the the plastered floor. The floor has been covered in a hard plastic-like material.
I'm gonna take in everything and I'm gonna turn to Jericho and his wife. How long have you guys been down here for?
Jericho breathes in and he motions you inside the room.
I'll go inside with him.
He closes the door behind him and he says, "Since the war started, so a couple months now, I think. It's been a while."
I'm gonna go up to their table with the food on it and just lean against it while I talk. Alright, well, you guys plan to stay here forever, or are we getting out of here anytime soon?
Jericho, he shrugs his shoulders a little bit and he says, "Sir, you're not the first one that I found and helped out here. Ever since everything went to shit," and he covers his mouth and he looks over at Marie and he says, "Crap. I've been helping people get out of the housing here and trying to get them to safety. Originally I was taking them to the orbital elevator, but now," and he shrugs his shoulders.
Yeah, I'm gonna just lower my head and yeah, I came from the orbital elevator.
Yeah, he shrugs his shoulders a little bit and he says, "Oh, Sarah can help you with that. She was a nurse, and Sarah is already. You see, she's pulled out some bandages and some antiseptics from a nearby wall panel, and she walks over to one of the walls, and you see she pulls out a key and she sticks it seemingly into the wall, and she turns it, and suddenly a small operating table pops out of the wall, kind of like a cot, but it has some medical instruments on it.
I'm gonna. Victor will sigh a breath of release, or relief, and turn to Jericho and present him the transponder. You wouldn't happen to be a radio operator or someone who can decrypt this, can you?
He takes the transponder from you and he's looking it over, and he says, I haven't seen one of these in a long time. And he's scratching at his face, and he says, I might be able to do something with this. I worked as orbital control over at the orbital elevator. We deal with some of these sometimes. They're survival transponders for adrift starships. Very handy. I might be able to figure it out. Give me a few moments.
And a nod. Good, do that, because that thing might be our only ticket out of here. And I'm gonna approach the operating table and look at his wife. Could you give me a hand with this? Unclothing my wounded area.
She nods and she helps you take off your outer clothing, your upper clothing, I guess. And she says, and she looks at your wound and she says, I'm gonna need you to lay down. I'll give you a shot of painkillers. I don't have much left, but from what I can see, I might have to do some digging.
I'm gonna purse my lips together. It's not gonna put me under, is it?
She shakes her head and says, no, just some local anesthesia.
I'll nod and I'll take the back of my hand and just put it where my teeth are so I can bite down. Alright, do it.
You lay down and she pulls out a small, it kind of looks like a soda gun, like you would see at a bar, and she presses it and it sprays your wound, and for a second it feels like there's fire ants crawling all around on the inside of your room, or on side of your wound, and then that very brief moment of uncomfortable passes, and then you feel numb and just coolness, soothing coolness on the wound. And then she pulls out a small, what kind of looks like a cell phone, and she scans it over your wound, and she sets it back down, and she looks over and she says, you have 2 broken ribs, and one of the rounds has embedded in the cracked rib. I will need to pull it out.
I'm not gonna say anything, I'm just gonna nod and grunt.
Okay. And she lays one hand on your arm nearest your wound, and then she pulls out a long pair of medical pliers, and she says, it'll hurt for just a moment. I'm gonna need you to count to 5 with me. Okay?
I'll nod. Get ready to count.
Alright. 1, 2,
2,
3, and as she gets to 3, she jams it inside of your ribs, and then you feel a very brief amount of pain, and then about 30 seconds pass, and then she rips the pliers back out, and you see a large bullet that's been flattened, and she drops the bullet to the ground. And then she immediately she pulls out the soda gun looking thing again, and you hear a loud psst as she sprays synthetic skin over your wound.
At the height of the pain, I'm gonna recoil a little bit and go
She gives you a very warm smile and she says, thank you. It was much better than some of the other patients that I've had lately. And she pats the synth skin. And she says, "You'll fully heal up in a couple weeks or so. But for the time being, I'm going to give you a shot of adrenaline. Or I'll give you a shot of adrenaline. It should open up your natural painkillers, and it should get you back up to your full fighting strength for now."
I'll start slowly getting up. Thanks, Doc.
She nods as she pulls out a syringe filled with a green liquid, and she quickly sticks it in a vein in your arm, and she presses the plunger down, and immediately you feel reinvigorated and awake, and you can set your speed back up to 30 again.
Excellent. I'll look at her and ask her, so how long will this adrenaline last? Because I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing this.
You should be good for the next about 12 hours. Then you will crash and you will require some sleep.
Alright, we have 12 hours to get everyone out of here. I'm going to sit up and rearrange my shirt.
You put the shirt back on, and you hear a burst of static from the other side of the room, and Jericho holds up his hands and he says, "Master Victor, I think I got it."
I'm gonna heavy leg it over there because I'm still feeling the pain a little bit.
Okay, I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm just gonna get up from the table and heavy leg it over there.
Jericho looks up at you and he nods and he says, "It was a tough encryption. I haven't seen one like that in a long time. Well, but I kind of recognized it. We've handled military-grade encryption before on adrift warships coming back from pirate raids." Says, "The message can be received whenever you wish," and he hands the transponder back over to you.
There, I'll take the transponder and hit the receive button. Anticipation.
There is a burst of static, and then you hear a very recognizable voice on the other side, and it says, "Master Franz, please proceed to the following coordinates. We can provide assistance for you from there." And then a stream of coordinates is downloaded from the transponder onto your watch.
Am I able to figure out where those coordinates are just by reading them?
Yes, you are able to bring up a map of the local area, and the coordinates are pinning a spot on the outskirts of the city. What looks like to be what once was a low-income housing district.
Alright. I'm going to present the coordinates to Jericho, and I'm going to ask him, okay, so how far away is this, and is there any good ways to get there?
Jericho's looking it over, and he raises an eyebrow and he says, "Yeah, it's not too far. Maybe, well, it would be about a half hour going up top, but I don't know with those true believers moving around. My bunker's connected to the sewers here. We could try to take those, although it would be a little bit slower going, maybe an hour, hour and a half at most."
And you're confident the sewers can get us there?
Oh, absolutely. With your watch there, helping us lead the way, I'll be able to guide us there.
Alright, well, if we make this trip, I'm not going alone. We have to take everyone. We can't stay on this planet any longer. There's too many players involved. if they took the elevator, then I don't think it's gonna be safe to be here for another day, much less another 12 hours.
He nods his head and he says, I know you're right, Master Franz. We don't have much here. All I've got a pistol locked away, but that's it. Sarah and she's never even fired a weapon, and little Marie.
Yeah, I'm gonna raise my hands. I'm not gonna ask them to fight. That's not how I operate. But go get that pistol because we're all getting out of here. Get any supplies you can. Tell your wife and your daughter to start packing.
He nods his head and he says, "Okay, Master Victor. These people you're going to see, you're sure that?" And he kind of looks around. And he says, "You're sure they'll be willing to take us?"
Well, it's either that or it's pretty much your only choice. I can't guarantee anything, but if my crew is coming to save me, or it's the Graves Guard, the people that sent me here, then for sure we're getting you out of here.
He nods his head and he says, "Well, all right, Master Victor. Just give us a moment or two." And you see he disconnects his radio setup and he walks over to a safe near his bed, and he pulls out a small pistol and he pulls out a small las pistol and a couple of energy cells, and he tucks them into his belt. And he holsters the pistol. And Sarah, you see that she picks up some medical supplies and throws it into a small satchel on her back. And then she picks up Marie, and she swaddles Marie around her. Marie, you see, is she's mewling a little bit, and then Sarah pulls out a long syringe, and she puts it into Marie's arm, and she plunges it down, and within a minute, Marie is passed out cold.
I'm gonna turn to Jericho. Is your daughter gonna be a problem on the way there, or can we trust your family to stay quiet and stay safe?
He shrugs his shoulder and says, "She's young, she doesn't quite understand, but Sarah still has a couple more of those syringes. They should keep her asleep. It won't harm her. It's just we've had to do it a few times already."
I'm gonna nod my head. Must be tough sitting down here for a couple months.
Harder than you can know, Master Victor. When the true believers showed up, well, before there were still some families that were squatting in their houses, refusing to leave. The true believers, they took flamethrowers to them, burned them out. And those off-worlders that just arrived, well, they haven't even been here a full day, and they've already been shelling indiscriminately into the city and into the housing around here. Artillery for hours on end.
Are we gonna be safe from the artillery in the sewers, Jericho?
Well, it's very deep underground. The necessities of the orbital elevator. If something catastrophic were to happen to it, the sewers were built to survive, or work as an emergency shelter. A little artillery shelling isn't going to do them much harm.
I'm gonna just touch Jericho's arm and gesture to meet me in the corner of the room so I can discuss something with him.
He follows you to the corner of the room.
Okay. And I'm gonna put my gun away and go, look. My mission here was with someone who isn't officially supposed to be here. We're just here to get someone and get out. My job was to make sure that my crew managed to get to that person, and because the Legion showed up, the elevator is now our huge problem. It's also theirs too, so is there any way we can create a distraction to kind of stop them or slow them down a little bit while we're getting out of here? Because they've got full domination over this whole planet with the elevator.
He stops and he thinks for a moment, and he says, "There's as far as I know, the central gas line that runs through this entire neighborhood is still, it's still fully operational. The houses, they're still being fed gas, natural gas, you see. We sit on a huge reservoir of it here. Well, we could somehow attempt to, you know, send this place to Kingdom Come. Be a fireball you'd be able to see from the middle of the city.
Victor's gonna cross his arms and just kind of putz around in the corner a little bit, thinking about it. Yeah, that could work. Do you have any, like, incendiaries, any flares, anything like that? Matches, maybe?
He nods for a second, and he goes back over towards his table, and he pulls out a small box, and he opens the box, and he holds out 2 emergency flares.
I'm gonna take just one of the flares from him. And I'll look around the walls and ceiling of the shelter. Is there any way we can get this place to blow up too? Because we're not coming back here and we need to seal it off behind us.
He walks on over and he turns all of the gas burners on the little stove to full.
All right, now show me the entrance to the sewer, because we're gonna have to get out of here pretty quickly when we do leave.
He nods and he pulls Marie's bed out from the side of the wall, and you see that there is a crawl space with a small door on it underneath Marie's bed, and he pulls open the crawl space, and it's large enough for you all to crawl inside. And he says, "It's about a 2-minute crawl from here, and then there's a grate, You can just kick it down, and you'll be in the sewers. It's our last-ditch escape plan if we had never ever needed to get out of here." I haven't been down there though, Master Franz. I do not know if there will be anything waiting for us down there.
Alright, well, why don't you let me go first? I'll take a look, and I'm gonna rely on you. I'm gonna point at him. I'm gonna rely on you to get that flare set up so that we can set this place on fire when I can figure out if this is safe or not, alright?
He nods his head and he says, "I'll be right behind you, Master Victor."
Excellent. I'm gonna get down where Sarah's bed was and start shimmying in there.
You shimmy on through. It's a short crawl, like Victor said, and then you come to a grate, a small grate, and you smell sewage, but you also smell what smells like burnt flesh.
Can I see through the grate? See if there's anything in there.
Just looking ahead of you, you can just see the wall on the other side of the sewer.
Alright, I'm gonna flip around in the tunnel, so my feet's facing the grate, and I'm gonna start kicking the grate out.
It goes in one solid kick and clatters to the ground.
Cool. I'm gonna wait and just see if anything moves after I did that.
A moment passes and you don't hear anything.
Alright, I'm gonna crawl out through and enter the sewer.
You crawl out and you crawl to the ground, or you plop down to the ground. Now, the sewer itself seems to still be functional. It's not overflowing or anything like that. It smells awful. Looking around you, you see that the sewer, it runs in a straight line from where you're at, in one direction and in the other. So, one big straight line. There doesn't seem to be many places where it splits off and creates a new tunnel. However, looking behind you from where you just crawled out of, you see a small pile of charred bodies. About 90 feet away from you.
I'm gonna get closer and investigate.
Yeah, you get close and you look, and whoever did this to these bodies was very thorough. They are unrecognizable, as they've all. There's about there's four bodies, and they've all been burnt to a crisp.
Am I able to look for tracks in the sewer?
Yeah, you can make a perception check, or you can make an investigation check to see if you can see any tracks around.
Alrighty. Investigation.
You aren't really able to see anything around.
Alright.
If there were tracks here, they're long gone.
I'm gonna walk back to the grate and near.
Jericho, or excuse me, Sarah and Marie are the first ones through. She plops to the ground. She looks past you and she sees the bodies and she gasps a little bit and she looks away. A moment passes and suddenly Jericho comes through and he plops on down, and you can now you start to smell gas coming from the grate, and he says, Master Victor, I think we'll be able to light it in a moment here, but we might want to get away from here as soon as possible.
I'll nod and motion everyone to start heading down.
He points in the opposite directions of the bodies, and he says, well, we should start to go this way then. That is leading towards the outskirts of the city here.
That's a good idea. I give him a thumbs up and start heading that direction with my gun drawn.
He nods, and then you hear, and he lights the flare, and he sets it at the edge of the grate, and he walks with you. A minute passes, and then you hear a loud whoosh, and you can now smell burning flames from behind you.
Alright, I'm gonna turn back to Sarah and Jericho. Can you guys move any faster? Because I think we might need to run here.
They both nod, and they begin to pick up the pace.
Alright, I'm gonna turn to Jericho while we're starting to run. Just run till you can't hear it anymore. As soon as we can't hear that fire, we're gonna just slow down and start going slow again, alright?
He nods. About 10 minutes passes, and then you are unable to hear the flames anymore.
I'll motion them to start walking again.
You motion them to start walking again, they slow down.
I'll turn to Jericho. How much farther do we have before we get there?
Can I see you watch, Master Franz?
Sure. I'm gonna show him my wrist with the watch on it.
He looks at it, and he looks at the map on it, and he looks up, and he says, oh, we are actually making pretty good time. Maybe another 40 minutes or so.
Alright. That sounds good to me. Let's go. And then start walking again.
He nods. About 30 minutes pass, or excuse me, about 35 minutes passes, and you are getting near the end. And Jericho, he looks up the tunnel. You've been walking along this tunnel. Not much has changed, besides the smell. And he looks up on ahead, and he says, and he points, and he says, there, that ladder there. You go up the ladder, and you'll be basically right on top of the coordinates that you received. And he gestures to a ladder that's about 200 feet in front of you.
Alright. I'm gonna motion for everyone to take a knee, or just get as low as they can. And I'm gonna turn to Jericho. I'm gonna go check up there. Just watch both ways, make sure no one's coming. I'll signal for you when you guys are good to come up.
He
And then
nods his head.
I'll put my gun away and crawl up the ladder.
As you're moving towards the ladder, you get about 120 feet away. You hear the sound of metal or moving, and then you see a light from the top of the ladder shining down.
I'm gonna stop and draw my gun immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna watch the light to see what happens.
Sure. A moment passes, and then suddenly you hear a couple of voices. And then you hear what sounds like somebody climbing down the ladder.
Yeah, I'm gonna get away from where the light is, so I'm mostly in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to turn around and just raise up a hand and wave at Jericho to tell him, hey, there's something here.
Jericho nods, and he puts a hand on Sarah, and he kind of presses her up against the wall so she's hiding, and he starts to slowly move towards you.
And I'm gonna wait for whatever's coming down the ladder to get down.
Sure. Jericho is about 30 feet behind you, so you're 120 feet away from the ladder. Jericho's 150 feet away. When the first person gets to the bottom of the ladder, you see that they have a large tank on their back, and when they turn, you see they're wearing a full-blown gas mask. There is a nozzle connected to the tank, and they are wearing what looks like pieces of metal have been hammered together to their suit.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna back up and regroup with Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jericho, we have a bit of a problem up there. There's one of those flamethrower motherfuckers waiting for us.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus Christ, he says, and he does the crucifix, and he says, "Oh, down here, what the hell are they doing down here?"
Probably the same reason that they were down here earlier for those bodies. They're looking for people trying to get out.
What do we do, Master Franz?
I'm thinking. What is the, I'm gonna look at the guy who's at the bottom of the ladder. What is his action? What is his deal?
He's at the bottom of the ladder, and he has unslung the lawn nozzle from from the tank on his back. And you now hear at least one other person is now descending the ladder as well. Double back at least another 30 minutes, maybe almost all the way back to where we first started.
Damn it, we don't have that kind of time. They're just gonna take a mental inventory of what he has on him.
Okay. Do you need me to, or are you just looking at your inventory?
I'm looking at things.
Okay.
Alright, I'm going to, I'm gonna turn to Jericho. So these guys, what can you tell me about them real quick?
Well, they're true believers. I've only ever seen them from a distance, but they're merciless and they're cruel, Master Victor. They'll burn you as soon as they see you.
Alright, I'm gonna remute these people. Alright, I'm going to take the flare out, and I'm not going to activate it yet. But I'm gonna hold it in one of my hands, and in my other hand I'm gonna have my gun.
Okay.
I'm going to I'm gonna turn to Sarah. You should stay back with your daughter. Jericho and I are gonna take care of this.
Sarah leans over and she says, "Oh, be careful, honey." And Jericho nods and he puts his hand on her and he says, "Okay, Master Victor, I'm with you. I'm ready."
Alright. I'm gonna turn to Jericho right before we do this. Right before I start acting, I'm gonna tell him, hey, so if things don't go according to plan, if things start to go belly up, I want you to just run, find your family back here. I want you guys to get out, go back the way you came, do whatever you have to do, but as long as you get to those coordinates, I'll make sure those guys take care of you, alright? Just explain that Victor sent you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Okay.
Alright. Now I'm gonna I'm gonna light the flare in my hand,
Okay.
and I'm going to run towards the guys at the bottom of the ladder, and I'm gonna scream at them.
Okay.
Oh, brothers! I found heretics in the tunnels, and I've cleansed them!
They don't fall for it. Roll for initiative.
Shit.
Okay, you rolled a 12 plus whatever your initiative is. Hold on. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so
And since
let's...
I ran... Just a real quick question. Since I ran straight up to him, can I do a surprise action?
Yeah, we'll say you can do that. Okay, so you rolled a 13. Alright, fuck. I just lost my place on the map here. Shit. Okay, I'm going to share this map with you, and then you'll be able to see in just a moment here. Okay. Delete that, delete. Ah, fuck. I need to write something down in my notes. Because the fucking
Okay.
the APC health.
I gotta take off my sweatshirt. Alright.
Alright, perfect. Okay, just had to write down the APC health, because I have to delete them from the combat tracker. Okay, so. Throw Victor in the combat tracker with a 13 to initiative. Okay, you can see the map, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. You are... Please let me add you to the map. Hold on. You are... There you go. Think. Oh, just here. Now let me just count the spaces, because I think I had 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, perfect. Alright. And you can see them. Boop, boop, boop. There's 3 total that have entered the sewer. One with the nozzle. The other ones, they seem to be holding las guns. Low spectrum las guns.
Alright.
Where did... where's Jericho? There he is. Okay. There we go. And Jericho is an ally. Boop, there he is. Alright, perfect. So, roll NPC initiatives. Whoops, did not mean to do that.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Oh, Jericho's going first.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, there we go. So Jericho, each one of these squares is 10 feet, by the way. Jericho is going to move to here, and where he's at here, this is kind of like the edge. So like the area, like this right here, is sewage water. So he's here, and he is going to take a shot, although it's going to be at disadvantage against the True Believer with the flamethrower in front of him.
Alright.
Sweet. Let me do... There we go. Now I can actually access all my shit. Okay. Do. How do I... Okay, yep, there we go. Well, his shot goes wide. And he's going to look up and he's going to say, Master Victor! So, you're up.
Got it. Don't worry, Jericho, we got this. I'm gonna move my 30 feet to the corner of the water right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to make a shot on the flamethrower True Believer.
Okay, that will be at disadvantage.
Disadvantage, and get my gun. Gun. Oh boy. I need to roll first for that.
Yeah, it's a miss. Or no, it's not a miss. You need to roll first, yeah.
That was the wrong one, yeah.
Yep, my bad.
A D20.
Mm-hmm. Plus whatever your proficiency and whatnot is.
Yeah, I gotta... Okay, the disadvantage is still on. Sweet.
It is a... Oh, wait.
It's still doing the armor thing.
Yeah. Oh, so it was a 16
just-
then. 16... Okay, that's a hit.
Remove... Oh, okay. Cool. Do you want me to roll damage again?
Yeah,
Or
roll
do you want me
damage
to
again.
just use the...
Roll damage
Alright.
again.
That's a bit better.
Oh, nice. You get a grazing shot along his side, and he goes down to one knee for a sec. But then he picks himself up, and he is going to... Let's see. Okay. Alright, yep, he's got short reach. Alright, he's going to move 30 feet, and you, Jericho is going to take a shot at him while he's moving for a reaction. You can choose to as well if you wish.
Yeah, I will.
Oh, he hits him. Damn.
Wow.
Good shit, Jericho. 4.
I knew that gun wasn't for show.
Oh, goodness.
Nice.
He grazes him in the side again as he's moving forward, and you see he's holding a wound in his side, but he picks his or he steadies himself again as he's moving forward. You're gonna take a shot too.
Yeah. At disadvantage, right?
Disadvantage, correct.
Excellent.
That's a miss.
Oh.
Your shot goes way wide up into the ceiling.
Shit.
The other two... oh. They have to move forward. 20, 30... Whoops, they're not fully on there. There we go. 10, 20, 30. They're going to move up to here. Let me just see. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120. Okay. True Believer Cultist 2 is going to fire at Jericho. 1 is going to fire at you. They're both at disadvantage for this.
Cool. Or at least it will be unless I get hit.
Sweet, okay. Disadvantage against Jericho. Misses.
Thank God.
And disadvantage against you. Oh,
shit.
You're lucky the other one was a 20. That was a nat 20.
Oh,
so,
man.
I gotta add +1 to this. Hits you for 4. The shot impacts in front of you, and you're like, whoa, that was close. As a reminder, it's not how much HP isn't how much meat points you have. It's your mental, spiritual, and physical willingness to stay in the fight. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Jericho's turn. Jericho is going to fire again at this True Believer anti-infantry out in front. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So he's going to be at disadvantage again. Okay, here we go. Oh, he hits him again!
Good fucking job, Jericho.
He's popping it. Okay. Okay.
Big damage, big damage.
This shot lands squarely in the man's shoulder, and he goes down to one knee again, and Jericho shouts over and he says, "Can you finish him off, Master Victor?"
I'm just gonna nod at him and get my gun ready to fire. And I'm gonna do disadvantage against.
Yeah, there we go. It's your turn.
Wait. Roll for disadvantage. Fuck.
Shot goes wide. He is going to move forward 30 feet again. You both can take. Actually, 60. What's the range on your pistol? I think it's 60 feet, ain't it? I'll double check.
65.
No, it's 40.
40? Okay.
40, yep.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so he's still a few feet away from us.
Yep. So, you can both take shots at disadvantage at him again if you wish. Jericho's going to.
I'm definitely going to.
Okay, so Jericho is going. I'll have him fire first, and then you can. Whoops. Disadvantage. Ooh, this one misses.
Alright.
Oh, that one misses as well.
Fuck. God damn it.
The other two are going to move forward 30 feet here, and they are no longer at disadvantage because they have rifles. We'll do the same thing again. 2 is going to fire at Jericho, 1 is going to fire at you.
Alright. Shit.
Oh, that's a hit on Jericho. 4. It's 1d6 plus 1. Ooh. Jericho yelps out in pain as one of the shots, it goes right next to his ribs, and you see that it sears through the skin, the clothing and the skin, and he yelps out in pain. And you hear Sarah cry out from behind as she watches her husband take a hit. One is going to fire at you. Oof.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Shit.
A shot goes searing past your face, and you swear you smell burnt hair.
Oh, fuck. This is not going well.
Jericho is going to take a shot, again at disadvantage, on the anti-infantry guy. Oh, that's a miss.
Fuck. What do I really have to do here? Oops, I didn't mean to touch that.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I don't have any of my trick stuff saved, I don't think. Yeah, it's not in there. Alright. I'm gonna fire at the anti-infantry again.
Okay.
But first I'm gonna move towards him.
Okay.
Let's do 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna move right up here so that I'm not firing at disadvantage.
Alright.
Oh, fuck.
That's a hit.
Excellent. And let's get out the pistol. Fuck.
Oh, goodness. You smack him in the leg, and he goes down to one knee. And he's breathing heavily. But he picks himself back up. And he's barely holding on.
God damn
And
it.
he is going to turn, and he's going to fire a hail of flames towards Jericho. Jericho needs to make a saving throw, I believe. Let me just double check this. Oh, goodness. Okay, yeah. Oh, he makes it! Jericho ducks down, and you see a hail of flames just hit the wall up above him.
Oh, fuck. It's gotta wait for the two fuckers.
2 is going to fire at Jericho, 1 is going to fire at you.
Please miss. Oh, God. Please don't let it be 9.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
That's so fucking close.
Jericho yelps again as a shot hits him in the side, and he goes down to one knee, and you see that he's bleeding rather, or he's not bleeding, the las gun flash, flash cauterized his wound, but he's hurting big time. 1 at you. You manage to duck out of the way in time as that shot goes wide. Jericho picks himself up, and he looks over at you, Victor, and he says, Victor, tell Sarah I love her. And he moves over to here, and he's taking a shot at, not at disadvantage, at the anti-infantry guy in front of him.
Please don't miss.
Oh, he misses! You're up.
Shit. What could I do to fucking save the situation here? Shit. I need to look at my gambits real quick. because that might be all I have left. Gotta go to drive. Open up hyperlanes. Go down to the page. I used to have this all written down, but I'm not sure where the papers went. Let's see. Pilots. Oh my god, there we go. Okay, there was nothing useful in here. Oh shit, I guess all I can really do is just keep firing. So I'm gonna move a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just try and shoot him point blank from about 10 feet away.
I'll say you can roll advantage for this. So you're so close.
Awesome.
What's your plus to that?
Shit, yeah. Let me just do this here. It's even worse. Wait, no, it's the
it's
armor
plus 3.
prop thing.
It's plus 3. That's a hit.
Yeah.
Your first one was a hit.
Oh, thank God. Alright. Please, shoot him in the head.
You steady your pistol and you blow his head clean off. The last two cultists turn and fire at Jericho, who has gotten their attention.
God damn it. Please miss.
Oh, one misses.
God. That one's not gonna be a miss. Oh my God.
Jericho manages to dodge at the last second. From the 2 shots, he hits the ground, and he picks himself back up, and he goes into a crouch, and he fires right back at them. And he hits! Jericho, the civilian, is holding on for dear life. Oh my God! Oh, he strikes him good, and he says, "Come on, Victor, we can do this."
I'm just gonna butt rush him. While he's recoiling, I'm gonna run across.
Okay.
So I'm right in front of Jericho. I'm in between them.
Okay.
And I'm gonna level my gun at him and be like, "You shouldn't have messed with us.
Alright.
You fool."
I'll say you can roll advantage again since you're so close.
Excellent. Oh, fuck.
Oh, you have to roll again. You have to roll again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just roll the d20 with advantage.
Okay.
And we can add the +3 in later. That fell off the chat.
That's a hit. Which one are you aiming at, 2 or 1?
I'm gonna aim at 2. The
Okay.
one's already kind of fucked.
Okay. You let your shot fly out and you blow his head off. One looks at the 2 dead body of his comrades and he says, and you hear him shout out and he says, "Lord, bless my soul." And you see him fix a bayonet to the front of his rifle. And he moves towards you and he's going to attempt to spear you with his bayonet.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
Oh. Okay.
He thrusts the bayonet at you, but you dodge at the last second, and you feel it scrape against your cheek. Jericho, unable to get a clear shot, moves to here, and he's going to fire into this melee that's going on here.
Holy shit. Fuck. Close.
But the shot goes in between you and the cultist. Seeing an opening, you can fight back.
Can I shoot him point blank?
You can shoot him point blank. You can do your... Don't you? I think you have a special... Yeah, you have a special ability, don't you?
I do. Yeah, technically, well, yeah, actually, yeah, I could. That's
Your biosculpting. Oh wait, no, it's not. Oh yeah, you can use it as an attack. Yeah.
Cosmetics or single appendage.
Yep.
Uh,
It's 1d4 plus 2 for the damage for that. I think it's
true.
plus 2 to hit.
Okay. I will probably use my biosculpting for the first time ever.
Alright, what are you morphing?
Victor is going to switch his gun to his left hand, and his right hand, he's going to close all his fingers together so that they're all neatly bunched together. Like if you tied them together, they'd look like a pile of sticks. And his skin slowly turns black, and his fingers sharpen out into a fine point. And you can see the hexagonal patterns making up all that on his hand as it's turning black. And Victor's gonna look at the guy with his new spear hand and just jab him with it.
Alright.
Should I roll at advantage for this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say because it's your biosculpting, you can roll at advantage for it.
Sweet. Roll at advantage plus 2.
Oh, yeah, that's a hit.
And then I'm going to use my knife because it's the same damage.
1d4 plus 2.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm freaking the fuck out in this fight.
You morph your arm and you shoot it forward, and you put a deep gouge in his arm, and he looks at you in shock, and he screams, "Mutant heretic!" Oh! And he's spittering and sputtering, and Jericho is gonna take this time to try to fire a shot at him while he's freaking out. That's a Okay.
Good job.
Let's. Holy shit. Oh my god. That kills him outright. that's a 7. So he's already at 11, and then it's plus 1. Oh my goodness. Jericho, he sees you somehow distract him real quick, and he fires a shot, and it hits the man in the throat. He's gurgling, and then Jericho, you hear crack, 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 and he puts 3 more into his chest, and the man goes to the ground, and he's dead.
As he's like breathing his last, I'm gonna get down at his level. He's on my knees. Like, where's your god down here?
The man looks at you, and he gurgles, and he's grimacing, and as you say that to him, and then he dies.
I'm gonna holster my pistol, and my hand's gonna get back to flesh colored, and all my fingers are going to show up again.
You look over, and Jericho, he goes down to one knee, and you see that he's holding his side, his left side, and he's favoring his right, and he's like leaning over, and he's leaning up against the wall, and he says, "Neat little trick you got there."
I'm gonna hurry over to Jericho, and I'm gonna take out my first aid. I'm gonna look back at Sarah and yell for her.
She's already running forward with holding a syringe in her hand.
Alright, I'm gonna push the first aid kit into Jericho and say, "Hey, start getting yourself ready for her. I'm gonna figure out what to do with these dead bodies, alright?"
As you do so, you hear the sewer grating open again from up above. and light shines down again.
Can I pick up the flamethrower?
Yes, you can.
I'm going to pick up the flamethrower.
All right. It has 30 feet of reach, and they have to make a dexterity saving throw or they suffer 3d6 fire damage.
Excellent.
You hear steps coming down the ladder, and you hear the hiss spray as Sarah is desperately trying to seal up a very ugly wound in Jericho's side. She hasn't even stopped to give him any anesthesia, and you hear him, he's grunting in pain as she's doing so.
I'm gonna get as close to the ladder as I can without being seen outright.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna post up with that flamethrower and get ready.
You post up, and then the steps on the ladder stops, and then a voice comes down, and you hear, Master Franz, please, will you put away the flamethrower?
I'm gonna hearing the voice is enough to make Franz stop and like just look up like, what the fuck? He's gonna quickly.
Yep, go ahead.
Who's there, friend or foe?
It is me, Master Franz, Johann von Strauben.
I am so glad to see you. I'm gonna put the flamethrower back on its hook.
Strauben continues coming down the ladder, and then you hear more footsteps coming down the ladder. And Strauben, he is in his full military gear, which you see is a custom-made tailored suit. He has a cap on, and he has 2 holstered pistols in high-up holsters sitting on his chest. One on each side. You notice that these pistols are, one, extremely intricate and ornate. They have ivory, pearl, and purple and gold inlays all along the grips of these pistols. And 2, despite their looks, even from here you can see they are incredibly deadly, and you actually don't quite recognize what type of pistols they are. By the way, I'll send you a picture. This is what Strauben looks like when he takes to the field.
He's so fucking custom.
I sent you a picture.
Okay. It's very fancy.
And he, again, now that you see Strauben up close and you see him in this light, you can see that yes, he's very much a pretty boy. His his fingernails are perfectly manicured. There isn't a blemish on him. His suit is perfectly tailored and spotless. But what stands out the most to you are his eyes. He has the eyes of a snake. He looks very deadly indeed, and when he smiles, it is the most cold-hearted smile you think you've ever seen. Behind Strauben, 2 more soldiers descend down the ladder. They look like this. They unmistakably are Gravesguard soldiers, but you see that on their armor, they have painted the symbol of the Unity Party, one of the factions down here on the planet.
Oh shit.
And instead of their standard las guns, or their standard backpack-powered las guns, the very powerful ones, they are instead carrying heavy auto weapons. And Strauben dusts himself off a little bit, and he gives a bit of a smell, and he says, you could not have picked a better meeting spot, Master Franz.
Sorry, Strauben, there was was a bit of a problem getting here.
Ah, yes, I know. We've been tracking the Schwein moving their way through these suburbs ever since you sent your transponder.
Oh, I'm glad you found us when you did, because I don't know how much longer we're gonna hold.
Who are these two?
They're civilians. They're trustworthy and they're capable. This one is Jericho, and this is his wife Sarah, and they have their daughter with them. She's pacified right now. Sarah's a medic if you need her expertise.
He looks over at them and he sneers a little bit, and then he looks back at you and he says, well, okay then. Just make sure they stay out of the way. I don't want to get blood on my suit today.
I'll look down at all the blood and patchwork done to my own body. Yeah, you do that, Straubin. Listen, we gotta get out of here.
Yes, yes. We will. In due time. Do you happen to know where Bronzy is?
Oh, Bronzy and I were attacked by the Legion on the elevator. He basically gave me time to get away. I woke up in the suburbs. I don't know where he is. I think he might have been captured.
That's what we feared. You see, not long after you sent out a ping with your transponder, we received another from, unfortunately, from what we have identified to be the Vladimir's Legion's one of their forward operating bases here on Ishmael.
That's pretty serious. Do you think Bronzy's there?
Either that, or they've gotten Bronzy's equipment and are laying a trap for us.
Well, I guess there's no other option but to investigate it.
Very much so.
Unless you want to just leave them.
As part of the contract we signed with your company, we cannot do that.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you say otherwise.
Yes. Now then, are you able to move? You appear to have taken a little bit of hits your own self.
Yeah, that's fine. I still have like 10 hours before I collapse. We need to get out of here. We need to make sure these civilians are taken care of as well. They saved my life, so it's only right that we save theirs.
He waves his hand and he says, we will take care of them, don't you worry. But they will have to tag along with us until we can safely extract from here.
That's fine, just gotta keep them safe. I don't suppose you boys brought any medical supplies?
Yes, we did actually, as a matter of fact. And he turns around, he turns to one of the troopers behind him. And he says, Lawrence, if you would please. And the trooper curtly nods their head and slings their rifle. And you see they approach over to Jericho, and they pull out a med pack, and they pick Jericho up, and he looks him over, and you hear a sound of static come from their helmet, and Straubin nods, and he says, Lawrence will treat him on board the vehicle up above. If you would please follow Master Franz and civilians.
No, not my head. I'm gonna also ditch the flamethrower and pick up one of those las guns.
Sure, you can add that into your inventory. It is whatever your proficiency is to hit with rifles, so I think it's +2. And
it's actually 4.
Oh, +4. Well, +4 to hit. 1d6 plus, it'll be +4 then, +4 damage, heat damage.
Cool. I'll add that in real quick.
Range is, let me give you the range. It is, the range is 60, 60 for a normal shot, 120 at disadvantage, out to 120 at disadvantage.
60 is optimal. And you said the damage was 1d6?
1d6 plus 4 for you, so yeah, 1d6 plus 4 heat.
D6 plus... Oh no, you're right, it is plus 2. This is my chance to hit was plus 4.
Okay, so 1d6 plus 2 then, heat.
Yeah, that makes sense. D6. Alright. I'm going to, I'm gonna exit the sewer up the ladder with everyone else.
Okay,
With my new las gun.
now, I'll ask you, I can push, because there's one more potential combat encounter, I can push that to the next big session, or we can handle that tonight if you want. Up to you.
Would it be too much to tell me, like, what it entails, or...
It'll be heading to the forward operating base.
Okay. Let's just push it until next time.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
You climb up the ladder. I'll do the last part here then. You climb up the ladder.
Okay.
And waiting for you at the top is a small armored SUV with space enough for about 8 people. And Straubin gets into the passenger side, and the SUV's doors slide open for you and the rest of the crew to get in the back, while the other soldier, whose name you don't know yet, climbs into the driver's seat and closes the door. You notice that the SUV has been painted with the Unity Party symbol.
Can I turn to Straubin and... Hey, why are you guys rocking Unity colors?
Well, Master Franz, we are currently in discussions with both the Martyrs and the Unity Party for hiring our services. But as for right now, well, like we said, according to the terms of the contract, we cannot have any more of our own troopers down here. So, as of right now, we are Unity Party members on a mission for the Unity Party. And that is what it will be, or that is what the records will show, should we die down here.
It's pretty smart. I'm glad you guys managed to join us.
Oh yes, oh yes, Master Franz, yes. We are here under orders from Colonel Graves himself. Although I was the one who decided that it would be worth the risk to come get you. For you see, this presents us a very unique opportunity. I'll fill you in as we go. And he reaches into one of his side pockets and he holds out an earpiece for you and he says, here, put this in. We are on a closed comms channel with the other two here.
I'll put the earbud in.
You put the earbud